I would like to apologise in advance before going forward with this review to any of the actors or any of the characters, because I have a feeling there are only really about 5 actors in this film who I could pronounce their names without getting them wrong. Those would be Awkwafina, Father Chen, Michelle Yeoh, Ben Kingsley, and Benedict Wong. The others, I apologise. With that being said, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is the 25th film in the MCU that was first premiered in August of 2021. Now, obviously when the pandemic happened, keeping up with a lot of the films became less of a priority, and as a result of this, I'm now not seeing the MCU movies in the correct order, or the order that they were released, as the last MCU film I reviewed on this channel was Spider-Man No Way Home. But I thought Shang-Chi looked interesting, so I decided to give it a shot. Bought the DVD, sat down, watched it through, and I actually do think it's a pretty good film. It's certainly one of the prettiest films that Marvel Studios have ever done. I only really have one or two problems with it, and they happen towards the end of the film, but anyway, a short summary of what happens, although spoilers ahead because I can't really talk about the story without going into spoilers. I'm sorry. Now, you've got this man named Wen Wu, played by Tony Leung, and he is head of an organisation known as the Ten Rings, because he has 10 rings of power that give him pretty much immense power. No one quite knows where he got them from, but there are stories told about it. However, when he goes looking for the mysterious Ta Lo dimension, he ends up meeting up with a woman named Ying Li, played by Father Chen, and he ends up falling in love with her, and the two eventually get married and give birth to 2 children, Shang-Chi and Ji Ling. Now, when Shang-Chi is 7 years old, his mother is killed by members of a gang, and thus, when Wu re-establishes himself as the Mandarin, head of the Ten Rings organization, and begins training Shang-Chi in order to become an assassin. However, when going on an assignment when he's 14 years old, after doing so, Shang-Chi decides to move to San Francisco and start a new life for himself. Now, skip forward a couple of years, and Shang-Chi is now played by Simu Liu, and he has a best friend named Katie, played by Awkwafina. The two of them, they don't quite know where they want to be yet, but they're just having fun in life. They're valets, they work for a valet service, they spend most of their nights singing karaoke with each other, and they're generally just enjoying life. That is, until they're suddenly attacked by members of the Ten Rings, led by an assassin named Razor Fist, played by Florian Montague. They end up stealing Shang-Chi's pendant, and Shang-Chi realizes that they're probably going to go after his sister Ji Ling next, played by Menge Zhang. As a result of which, he has to travel to Macau, and they end up once again meeting up with their father, played by Tony Leung, who... It turns out that he wants their pendants because he wants to be able to find the Ta Lo dimension, because he believes he hears the voice of his long-dead wife, and he wants to release her, and if it means destroying everything in order to get her back, that's what he's willing to do. So it's up to Shang-Chi, Katie, and Ji Ling in order to find a way to stop Wen Wu and put a stop to everything. Now, I remember when this film was announced, and it was announced that the Mandarin was going to be the main villain this time around, part of me did wonder if this did turn out to be a good film, would people be a little more forgiving with Iron Man 3? For those who don't remember, back in 2013, when Iron Man 3 was released, and it was revealed that Ben Kingsley's character wasn't actually the Mandarin, but was more just an actor playing a part, people were furious. They revolted against it. Personally, I didn't mind all that much, but then again, I didn't entirely know the history of the character, and I didn't know why this was such a slap in the face. But anyway, people were angry, they revolted, And eventually, in order to solve this, they released a short film alongside Iron Man 3 called All Hail the King. That revealed that where Trevor Slattery, Ben Kingsley's character, is contacted in prison by the real Mandarin, considering the real Mandarin is actually still out there. And after watching this film through, while I don't know if I'd hold Iron Man 3 necessarily differently, but then again, I wasn't all that bothered by the twist. I did actually think it was a fairly good film. I mean, as I said, I thought this is one of the prettiest films that they've ever done. I mean, San Francisco looks great, Macau looks great. I mean, the fight scenes that they did in Macau with them up on rigging, I thought those were really good. And when they actually do get to the Tarlo dimension, it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, you got the bamboo fields, you got the Chinese arches, the buildings there, and some of the creatures they design are actually really beautiful to see. I mean, Shang-Chi, Katie, and Jiling end up encountering Trevor, who it seems has been brought there by Wenwu. And while he was originally brought there to be executed because he impersonated the Mandarin, the Mandarin ended up liking him, so kept him on as sort of like a court jester. And he ends up introducing them to a creature from the Tarlo dimension called Morris, who they're kind of shocked when they see it, because to me it looked like a creature with no head, just kind of like a furry creature, but with no head, just kind of like a rear at both ends and 4 wings. Or at least that's what I thought it looked like. I heard in the film they call it more a creature with its features hidden underneath its shaggy hair. And they managed to get some good comedy out of it. And as I said, when they do finally get there, it does actually look really good. I will also say that I like what they did with Shang and Katie's relationship in this film, because 9 times out of 10, when you've got a lead played by a male and a lead played by a female, 9 times out of 10 they usually end up hooking up or getting together. But I do like that Katie and Shang, they start off this film as friends and they end the film as friends. There's no forced romantic relationship between them. They're just 2 people of different sexes who enjoy each other's company. You know what? I really like that. I mean, they have some great comedy with each other. I mean, just them telling stories together to other people about how they met, how Shang was bullied in high school, but Katie managed to stop the bully by singing Hotel California in his face. I love that. And as I said, there's a lot of great humour moments in here, like when they're travelling to Macau and they do a joke where the flight attendant asks them what meal they want, because I'm afraid we're all out of the chicken. We've only got vegetarian and beef left. And they're like, oh, the vegetarian then. Yeah, so will I. Okay, 2 vegetarians coming up. To which they try to continue their conversation, only to be right. Like, I'm sorry, we're completely out of vegetarian. So, yeah, beef. Yeah, beef as well. Just, that works for me. And there is a lot of things that I do think work. Like, with Florian Montigny's character of Razor Fist, they also do a great moment during the final battle, which kind of shows him at first, like, other characters say to him, look, we need to work together. He's like, we work for the Mandarin, we work for him. But when he sees the kind of demon character fly out, just like, we should work together. To which, I love that, and I do feel it's kind of like a callback to one of my favourite moments from Iron Man 3, when Robert Downey Jr. is flying around, he manages to dispatch all of the goons, and they turn to the final one, the final one just goes, honestly, I hate working here, they are so weird. Which I felt that was quite a nice callback to that. Also, they managed to get a lot of comedy out of Ben Kingsley as well, which I found rather surprising, with my 2 favourite ones being when they're stood kind of waiting for the Tarlo dimension to open, and he starts going on about how he became an actor, and his mother told him about Planet of the Apes. It's like, you know what, I was amazed, like, seeing these monkeys riding horses, and I kept wondering myself, how did they get them to do that? And the mother was like, well, it's not real, it's just acting. Like, so they weren't actually riding horses, they were just monkeys acting. It's just like, this guy's adorable. I love that. I think my other favourite humour part with him is when, during the final battle, a lot of people are dead, and Morris the creature ends up coming over and kind of looking at him looking at Ben Kingsley quite sadly, but then Ben Kingsley points out, I'm not dead, you know, I'm only acting, there's only a role. Now, either flop over and pretend with me or go away. To which, I love that. And then, I think the final humorous moment that I do actually like is right at the end of the film, like, one of the mid-credit scenes, like the mid-credit scene, Benedict Wong, who's also in the film as Wong, he ends up coming to Shang-Chi and Katie to tell them that things are changing and their lives are about to change forever. He tells them, better go home and get some sleep. So they went, yeah, we should probably do that. Or, to which they end up going to sing karaoke, and just Benedict Wong singing karaoke with Awkwafina and Sumi Liu. I just found that hilarious, and you know what, I did like it. The only part of the film that I'll admit doesn't quite work for me is in the final battle, to which most of the kung fu, or the martial arts shown throughout the film, is great. They managed to do some great stuff with it, like even the silhouette fight in Macau, that's great. And even the outfits that they make him wear and say they're made of dragon scales, that's cool. But when it ultimately gets down to the final battle, while the kung fu is great, and they manage to do some quite cool stuff with it, once you get two giant monsters and get them fighting each other, it just kind of loses a little bit of tension for me. But that's a minor complaint. I still think that Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a good film. I think it's a good one just to sit down and watch it through and just have a good time. It's not the strongest the MCU have ever done. It's no Avengers Endgame, but you know what? If you want a genuinely good MCU martial arts film, I think Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings, that definitely fits the bill. So there you go. That's my quick thoughts on Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Anyway, until next time, see ya.